Carabinieri?
Pronto, buongiorno. Senta, qualcuno è praticamente entrato
Via
della Pergola 7 a Perugia.
The house has 2 floors and sits slightly below street level. The noise of passing cars fills the rooms. The address is Via della Pergola 7, just a few hundred meters from the ancient walls that encircle Perugia, a sleepy, historic city in central Italy. The timestamp on the police camera reads 3:10 p.m., November 2nd, 2007. The lens focuses on the upstairs apartment lock, the open door, the entrance, the kitchenette, and the sofa with a small table in front of it. Then it pans to a room with the curtains drawn, untouched and tidy. That's the bedroom of one of the 4 students who live in the apartment. Her name is Laura Mezzetti. The camera moves back through the kitchen and down a hallway. Then it enters another room. This time the scene is very different. One of the officers points to a bag.
Così, questo dove è stato parecchio furboso.
It's a black canvas duffel bag on a chair, open and apparently emptied. The desk, nightstand and bed are in disarray, cluttered with objects, clothes, toilet paper. This is the room of Filomena Romanelli, the second tenant. The window is open, and the camera lingers on a broken pane of glass. It's a clear sign of forced entry. Only a shard of the window glass remains at the top, pointed like a stalactite. Now the officers pass a hallway where a drying rack stands. They're about to enter a room where a murder has been committed. Let's see if it's this one the Italian police officers say. The camera frames another room, smaller this time. On the bed are some clothes, a denim jacket. On the desk, a computer, an iPod, and a pair of large headphones. An American girl lives here, from Seattle, Washington. She's 20 years old, in Italy to study and working part-time at a local bar called Le Chic. Her name is Amanda Knox. The officers move into the room next door, completely overturned. It's here. This is where it happened. The camera focuses on a blood-stained bra on the floor. It lies next to a pair of jeans, partially covered by a beige duvet. From under the duvet, a human foot is visible. On the nightstand there's a novel, Enduring Love by Ian McEwan. On the bed, only the fitted sheet remains, wrapped around the mattress, with a laptop and a faux leather bag resting on top. Then, on the wall, what appears to be a bloody handprint.
Qui c'è uno spruzzo,
No, forse anche più.
qui c'è uno spruzzo, lì c'è un'altra manata. Sembrerebbe.
There's a footprint, a blood stain here, here's another blood stain, and this one looks like an N-shaped mark.
And then blood, and more blood. Traces that end beneath the duvet, next to a shoe and another book. Someone else arrives at the scene at that moment, and reacts like this.
Merda. Merda. Oh.
Angelo, non devo cubo.
Merda, merda! Shit, shit! One of the officers worries that the swearing might end up in the recording, but his colleague reassures him, "Don't worry, I'll delete it." And yet, here it is. In this room resides Meredith Kercher, a student from Croydon, a town south of London. She's 22 years old, studying at the University of Leeds, and she's in Italy thanks to the Erasmus exchange program. The duvet hides the lifeless body of Meredith. You can see her head covered in blood and her left foot. Then the quilt is lifted by the investigators.
Attenzione alle tracce di sangue sul... non si... no.
Murder in Perugia, an exclusive 7-part podcast series by investigative journalist Antonio Giovane. Episode 1, Scene of the Crime.
It is 12:51 p.m. on November 2nd, 2007, when the local headquarters of the Carabinieri, the Italian paramilitary police unit, receives a phone call. It's a young man. His name is Raffaele Sollecito. He's reporting that someone has broken into an apartment at Via della Pergola 7, leaving the place in shambles. The Carabinieri notice there is also a female presence with him and ask them to provide their personal details. He starts by asking who are the renters.
Amanda?
Sì?
Il cognome KN
Sì.
o X.
Raffaele gives the Carabinieri agent the phone number of the girl who's with him. Her name is Amanda Knox. The officer tries to piece things together and asks, "So this is a case of burglary?" And the young man replies, "No, there was no burglary. Nothing was stolen."
Allora, guardi, cioè praticamente sono entrati, hanno rotto un vetro e come sa che...
So what you are saying is they broke through the window, but how do you know this?
You can see it, and there's blood stains in the bathroom.
So you are saying they broke in and they cut themselves by breaking the window, is that it? Hello?
Pronto?
During the call, the line drops. Sollecito calls back. The Carabiniere summarizes the content of the previous conversation. So, someone broke in by smashing the window, then went to the bathroom.
Ma non lo so.
What did they steal from the house?
They didn't steal anything. The problem is that there's a locked door upstairs. There's blood stains.
Whose door is that? Whose room?
One of the flatmates. She's not here. We don't know where she is.
Porta chiusa.
Di una delle conquiline che non c'è, non sappiamo dove.
Inside the house, at Via della Pergola 7, there's a closed door. It's the door of the room of one of the flatmates. She's missing. No one knows where she is.
E questa porta è chiusa. Questa ragazza avete un cellulare?
So the door is closed, but doesn't this girl have a cell phone? Did you try calling?
Yes, we tried to call her, but she doesn't answer.
Okay, I'll send a patrol so we can check the situation.
Okay.
Va bene?
Va bene.
Arrivederci.
The Carabinieri say they'll head over right away. In the meantime, Amanda Knox calls one of her two Italian flatmates, Filomena Romanelli. Filomena is in the car with her friend Paola Grande. They're on their way to the city fair for All Souls Day, which in Italy is a public holiday held on November 1st. Here's how Filomena would later describe the phone call to the prosecutor.
Mi disse, guarda, c'è qualcosa di strano in casa. Io ho dormito da Raffaele.
She said to me, look, there's something weird going on at home. I slept at Raffaele's place, and this morning when I got home, the door was open. There was blood in my bathroom, in the small one, and I took a shower, but I'm scared, I don't know what to do. I said, Amanda, go check around the house.
Amanda, fai un controllo della casa, cioè.
Amanda Knox and Raffaele Sollecito had known each other for less than a week. On October 25th, around 6 p.m., Meredith and Amanda leave the house on Via della Pergola, walk through Via degli Scortici, and head toward the University for Foreigners of Perugia. The weather is clear, about 13 degrees Celsius, 55 degrees Fahrenheit. In the main hall there's a concert. The Bottesini Quintet is playing Quattro Estaciones Porteñas by Astor Piazzolla. The audience is mostly middle-aged, with just a few younger people. During a break, Amanda notices a guy and catches his eye. He walks over to her. He's 23, from Giovinazzo, near the southeastern Italian city of Bari. He studies computer engineering and lives on the main street in Perugia, Corso Giuseppe Garibaldi 110. He introduces himself. Raffaele. Amanda, she replies. She's 20, studying Italian at the university in Perugia. She arrived in September after a stop to visit her aunt in Germany. She's American, from Seattle. That's so cool, says Raffaele. I'm a computer geek, and for us Seattle is like Mecca for Muslims. They start talking. Then the second part of the concert begins. The Bottesini Quintet performs Schubert's Trout Quintet. Now Raffaele is sitting next to Amanda. After the concert, Amanda says she has to head to work. She waits tables at the pub Le Chic. Can I get your number? Raffaele asks. Come by the pub, Amanda replies. Then we'll see. That night they start seeing each other, and they won't stop. They'll be practically inseparable, Sollecito will later say.
Abbiamo convissuto praticamente dal primo giorno.
We started living together from the very first day. She would only go back to her place to pick up her clothes or say hi to her friends. We would eat together often, me, her and her friends.
Vestiti, oppure per parlare con le sue amiche, mangiavamo insieme io, lei e le sue amiche.
Raffaele and Amanda are swept up in a whirlwind romance for one intense week, until November 2nd. Let's go back to lunchtime on November 2nd. Raffaele, calling from Via della Pergola, has just phoned the Carabinieri. The officer who takes the call assigns a colleague to head to the scene.
Via della Pergola numero 7, lui richiedente si chiama Amanda Knox.
Vabbè, dai, okay. La Pergola numero 7.
The caller's name is Amanda Knox, says the Carabiniere. He's misheard the name. Meanwhile, Filomena is alarmed by Amanda's call. She tries to reach Meredith, but gets no answer. It's unusual for Meredith not to pick up, especially on her British phone, the one she uses to call her mother, who has diabetes, several times a day. So Filomena calls Amanda back.
Amanda, mi dici che cosa sta accadendo? Fai un controllo della casa perché io sono...
Amanda, can you tell me what's going on? Check around the house, I'm at the fair and I can get home right away. Do a check. I also told her in English. Do a check of the house, please, I'm worried. Okay, she said. I'll go call Raffaele now and do a check of the house. I was starting to get really worried.
Non vorrei che fosse successo qualcosa. Io mi stavo preoccupando.
Filomena asks Amanda to go inside and check the situation in the house. It's during the third call that she really starts to panic.
Filomena, ho fatto un controllo della casa e la camera tua...
Amanda called again and said, Filomena, I checked the house and your room has a broken window and there's a mess everywhere. Thieves were there for sure. And that's when I got very scared and decided to go home and check.
A questo
punto lei ha preso e siete andati?
A casa, sì.
Filomena and Paola call their respective boyfriends, Luca Altieri and Marco Zaroli. By the time they get to Via della Pergola, around 1 p.m., the two young men are already there. Also on the scene are Inspector Battistelli and Officer Marzi, two agents from the postal police who arrived at 12:35. They're there because by chance a woman living nearby on Via Sperandio had found two cell phones in her garden. They turned out to belong to Meredith. The woman handed them over to the postal police agents, who then came to Via della Pergola to return them to the English girl. When Filomena gets to the house, she checks her room. It looks like the burglar didn't steal anything, or almost anything.
Era tutto un gran disordine. Lì per lì sembrava che l'unica cosa che mancasse fossero dei...
There was a big mess, but strangely it seemed that the only thing that was missing was some of my makeup. My beauty case was open and some things were missing. And I remember saying to Battistelli, it must have been a pretty strange thief. He took my makeup and didn't steal anything else.
Va bene così, non si è preso niente e mi si è rubato i trucchi. Sono contenta. Va bene.
Then Inspector Battistelli tells her about Meredith Kercher's phones, which were found in the neighbor's garden. And this is how Filomena reacts.
E lì in quel momento è stato ho detto sì, ma in tutto ciò, ma Meredith dove...
And there at that moment I realized something was... I said, okay, but where is Meredith? Where is she? Amanda said, her door is locked. I said, okay, let's open it. I mean, knock, wake her up. Maybe she's sleeping. How is it possible that she's still sleeping with all the confusion going on? We have to open the door. The policeman, Battistelli, told me, no, miss, we can't open the door. I said, but why? I authorize you to break this door. No, we can't open it, he said again.
Io La autorizzo a spaccare questa porta. No, non la possiamo aprire.
Filomena wants Officer Battistelli to break down the door, but he tells her he doesn't have the legal authorization to do that. So Filomena makes a drastic decision. A few hours later, the four young people will describe what happened next like this.
Ho detto, va bene, allora, tutti i testimoni, Luca, butta giù la porta.
Then I said, all right, I take responsibility for this. Luca smashed the door. Luca said, oh well, if you say so. You are the owner of the house.
Filomena said, do it, so I did it.
So Luca and Marco approached Meredith's door.
It took 5-6 kicks, then it came down.
He knocked open the door and basically I screamed and we all ran out.
Inside, as I broke down the door with my foot, I lurched forward because the door was going down, so I was about to fall. I got up, I turned around and there was blood everywhere.
And I remember Luca and Marco screaming, oh God, blood, there's a lot of blood, blood, blood. I saw them turn white.
I heard Paola scream, oh God, the foot.
I could only take a quick look. Then Marco said, go, 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 everyone out, go, go, don't look. He said to me, don't look. And we all left.
Via, 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 non guardare, non guardare, non guardare. E ci siamo spostati tutti.
Mentre stavo per uscire col cane,
while I was about to take my dog out for a walk, the deputy director of the rapid response team of Perugia, Dr. Marco Chiacchiera, called me and told me that he was about to come and pick me up. He said, the corpse of a girl had just been found in the area of Via della Pergola.
è stato trovato nella zona di Via della Pergola.
I meet prosecutor Giuliano Mignini in central Perugia in an office on Corso Vannucci. We sit down at a large meeting table. Back in 2007, he was 57 years old when he was first informed about the body found on Via della Pergola. He recalls that as he arrived at the house, they told him there had been a break-in. Someone had smashed a window with a rock, nearly 15 feet off the ground, climbed up and entered the apartment, but nothing had been taken.
Io guardai e, per farla breve, mi resi conto che questa operazione...
I looked around and immediately realized that such a break-in would have been impossible. I checked along the wall. There were no traces of skidding. I concluded that the story had been staged. When there is a staging operation, it means that there is someone who is linked to the house, who's afraid of being connected to the crime and starts tampering with evidence and making up a fictional scenario. It's a common cliché, typical of American murder scenes you see on TV.
Cerca di inventare, questo è il cliché che è stato sempre diffuso negli Stati Uniti.
The prosecutor immediately realizes the break-in was staged and starts forming his first hypothesis. Shortly afterward, the Italian news agencies pick up the story.
Era un normalissimo giorno in cronaca nazionale a Repubblica.
It was a normal day on the national desk at La Repubblica. I was getting back from the court like I normally would when the news agencies began to give the news that the body of a girl had been found. I had been checking the wire, I was curious. The head of the National Crime Desk, Giuseppe Casciaro, called me. I arrived just before dusk.
Sono arrivata poco prima dell'imbrunire, c'era un po' di luce.
The first news agency report comes in at 3:51 p.m. with the headline, Foreign girl found dead with throat slashed, homicide suspected. Elsa Vinci, who covers legal affairs for La Repubblica, the Italian national daily, headed straight for Perugia.
Arrivo in questa strada un po' in salita.
I reached this road, a little uphill. I try to orient myself and to understand what's going on. I see this viaduct that goes downhill. Only then will I discover that this road is called Via della Pergola. There is this rustic house, white-grey, and it was immediately clear that that was the crime scene. I could see the investigators moving around and some red and white tape.
Investigatori e qualche nastro bianco e rosso.
From the top of the ledge overlooking the house, the reporter watches as more journalists arrive, along with On Lucas and the forensics team at work, led by biologist Patrizia Stefanoni, in charge of collecting genetic evidence at the crime scene. In the days that follow, cameras and microphones will capture footage of the forensics officer on the phone in front of the house on Via della Pergola. In one video clip, Stefanoni is seen on the phone, giving instructions about the evidence that's being sent to the lab in Rome for analysis.
Sangue e liquido seminale. Esatto.
Blood and seminal fluid, says the biologist. Mignini also visits the crime scene, joining the forensics team on their inspections.
E mi è rimasto impresso che io dovevo cambiarmi le...
I had to change my anti-contamination socks every time I went in and out of the room. I also had to wear a kind of space suit, an anti-contamination suit, which made it hard to breathe. It wasn't very pleasant, it was hot inside the suit, but that was the procedure. Everyone who came in had to do the same.
Dava caldo, insomma era... E così tutti quelli che sono entrati.
Let's keep these observations from the prosecutor in mind. They will play an important role as the case unfolds. When the white duvet is lifted, Meredith is found wearing just two shirts, a short-sleeved one and over it a long-sleeved shirt. Both are soaked in blood and pushed up above her chest. She's wearing nothing underneath. There are two long knife wounds on her neck. The first, the fatal cut, is on the left side, 3 inches deep. It did not hit the carotid artery. That means her death came very slowly. Meredith drowned in her own blood. On the right side, there is another, smaller wound. By the end of the autopsy, a total of 47 wounds will be identified. There are also numerous bruises on her mouth, as if a hand had pressed down to keep her from screaming, and others on her arms, hands, abdomen and legs, as if she had tried to fight back. Besides the phones, 2 credit cards and 250 euros in cash are missing from the room. Bloody footprints are found in the hallway, the kitchen, and in the rooms of Amanda and Filomena. Traces of blood are also found in one of the bathrooms, on the sink and on a box of cotton swabs, while in the toilet of the other bathroom there are feces. Amanda and Raffaele are no longer at the house. They have already left. Elsa Vinci from La Repubblica will not even become aware of their existence until the following day.
Vidi questi due ragazzi vicini.
I saw these two young people close to each other. He had his arm around her. They were talking to each other, and in that moment, even from afar, I was struck, like many others, by the striking beauty of Amanda Knox.
Bellezza in quel momento di Amanda Knox.
Amanda doesn't go unnoticed. She has a radiant face and an intense gaze. For several days, she and her boyfriend are questioned by prosecutors.
Nome, cognome, data di nascita.
Raffaele Sollecito.
Nato?
A Bari.
Quando?
Il 26 marzo 1984.
Sollecito responds to standard question. His name, place of birth, Bari. Date of birth, March 26, 1984. Neither he nor Amanda are under investigation. They just need to provide some information to the prosecutors. Raffaele has gone over his and Amanda's movements several times between November 1st and 2nd, the night Meredith was killed. According to his account, on November 1st, Amanda went back to her place on Via della Pergola after spending the night with Raffaele. He joins her there later on.
Quando sono stato lì abbiamo mangiato insieme. C'era Meredith.
While I was there, we ate dinner together. Meredith was there too. Then I remember that Amanda had also played the guitar. And I also remember that Meredith was getting ready to go out. She went out, it was around 4, while we stayed home until 6.
Mentre noi siamo rimasti in casa fino alle 6.
Sollecito says that Meredith went out, while he and Amanda stay in and smoke weed. He smokes marijuana often, especially on days off from school. He says it helps him relax. The two stay at Via della Pergola until around 6 p.m., then head toward the city center. According to Sollecito's account, they go back to his place around 8 or 8:30, have dinner there and smoke more marijuana, which he admits makes his memories of the evening a bit hazy. Amanda was supposed to work that night at the pub Le Chic, as she usually did on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but she doesn't go in. When speaking to investigators, Raffaele says he's not quite sure why. Maybe the bar was closed, he suggests.
Non lo so, non mi ricordo, l'ho detto più volte perché non è.
I don't know, I can't remember. I keep telling you, I can't remember. It's not because I'm an idiot. It's just during that night, anyway, I had smoked marijuana several times. and the way I spent my evening from the 31st onwards are all very similar. All those evenings blend together. I did more or less the same things.
Di loro ho fatto più o meno le stesse cose.
That evening, a pipe under the sink breaks and Raffaele tries to dry things up as best he can. He spends some time on the computer and then, according to his account, he and Amanda go to bed. The next morning, between 9:30 and 10, Amanda wakes up. She wants to go back to her place.
Lei mi aveva detto che voleva andare a farsi una doccia a casa sua perché la mia doccia non le piaceva.
She told me that she wanted to go and take a shower at her house because she didn't like my shower. Then I fell asleep and she came back. She rang the doorbell and I woke up. She brought with her the mop, the one with the red bucket, to mop the wet floor. And then basically I used it to get the floor dry.
E poi in pratica ho usato io il mocio per asciugare bene per terra.
As she brings over the mop, used to clean up the leak from the broken sink pipe, Amanda tells Raffaele that something feels off in the house.
Lei aveva detto che aveva trovato la porta di casa dell'ingresso spalancata.
She said that she had found the door of her house wide open and some bloodstains in the hallway, and also that someone had used the toilet in the bathroom and hadn't flushed. She just told me these things and then she asked me if I found it strange. And I said yes, it's strange, but basically I also thought, even if I never told her, that it seemed strange to me that she had seen all these things and she had taken a shower anyway, that she decided to take a shower with the apartment in that condition.
Si fosse lavata in quelle condizioni.
In one bathroom, there are blood stains, and in the other, feces. Despite this, Amanda Knox takes a shower anyway, and Raffaele Sollecito finds it strange. At 11:30, she leaves the house on Via della Pergola to go back to Raffaele's place. The two agree that they should take a closer look at the house. When they return, according to Sollecito's account, he also notices that Filomena's bedroom door is wide open. He then notices the bloodstains and the broken glass in Filomena's room, and Meredith's room is locked.
Aveva pure bussato alla porta di Meredith più volte.
She had also knocked on Meredith's door several times. She had knocked on her door several times, calling, "Meredith, Meredith." Then I tried to look inside from the door's peephole, and all I could see was a kind of bag on the bed in the middle, and then, like a half-open wardrobe, on the left.
Attraverso la fessura sulla sinistra.
Everything feels very strange. Amanda makes a few calls to her friends, while Raffaele calls his sister, who is a lieutenant in the Carabinieri. His sister gives him some advice.
Gli ho detto, dice, che chiama a fare me, chiama il 112.
She said to me, "What are you calling me for? What do you want me to do? Just call the Carabinieri police hotline. Let them know."
Carabinieri? Pronto, buongiorno. Senta,
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Listen, someone has entered the house breaking the window. Everything is a mess and there is a closed door. Via della Pergola.
Via della Pergola.
For days, investigators work to reconstruct the movements of everyone who spent time at the house and the victims' final hours. On October 31st, Meredith celebrates late into the night with some friends. The next day, she spends the afternoon with her friend Sophie at Amy and Robin's place on Via Bontempi. "We made a pizza," Sophie tells Mignini during questioning, "with tomatoes, mozzarella, tuna and vegetables."
Tomato, mozzarella, tuna and other vegetables I can't remember.
E altri vegetali, ma non si ricorda. Did you use any mushrooms?
No, I don't think so because I don't like mushrooms.
No mushrooms because Sophie doesn't like them. Then they had dinner and watched a movie.
Che film era, si ricorda?
It's called The Notebook.
You're bored! You're bored and you know it. You wouldn't be here if there wasn't something missing.
Arrogant son of a bitch!
The Notebook by Nick Cassavetes tells a love story set in the early 1940s. Sophie and Meredith leave their friend's house around 20 to 9, walk a part of the way together, and say goodbye on Via del Lupo, the street where Sophie lives.
But at Via del Lupo we said goodbye and she carried on and I went home.
It is just before 9 p.m. when Sophie and Meredith part ways. Sophie heads home, while Meredith still has about 450 meters to walk before reaching, for the last time, Via della Pergola. Amanda and Raffaele also go over the hours before and after the murder. At times, their stories contradict each other. They give conflicting accounts and keep insisting the marijuana clouded their memory. Amanda, for her part, doesn't seem to have any of the cunning the media will soon attribute to her. Nothing of Foxy Noxy that reporters pick up from her MySpace nickname. She comes across more as naive, even innocent. Filomena Romanelli describes her in harsh terms. She recalls the moment the American girl called to tell her the house had been turned upside down. At that point, Filomena was with her friend Paola Grande. Speaking before the prosecutor, she describes Amanda like this.
Mi vide sbiancare lì per lì, chiedendomi ma che è successo?
I went pale and she asked me what happened. I said, oh God, of all the people that could be dealing with this, the one that is home right now is Amanda. She's just the dumbest of them all.
È la più cretina di tutte.
The dumbest of them all. Yes, because it's not normal, Filomena explains, for Amanda to act the way she did. It's not normal, Filomena says, that Amanda would see traces of blood in the bathroom and instead of calling someone or asking for help, decides to take a shower. And for many, the behavior of the two young lovers doesn't make sense either. Officer Fabio D'Astolto, who acted as an interpreter during the investigation, gives this account to the prosecutors.
Io stavo lì, se avevo bisogno di un caffè, qualsiasi cosa avevo bisogno.
I was there all throughout their hearings, and they were always together. They kissed, they hugged, just as if, I don't want to say just as if they were on a couch at a party, but imagine something like that, because they didn't seem to feel any type of... The thing that, let's say, shocked me is the fact that a girl, a friend of theirs, had just died, and they just didn't seem to care. Their only concern was to go back home. They were in a hurry to go back home.
L'unica preoccupazione era quella di tornarsene a casa, perché avevano fretta di voler tornare a casa.
Filippo Capruzzi, who works with the Erasmus office at the University for Foreigners of Perugia, also reports what Meredith's friend Natalie Hayward told him when she was at the police station to give a statement on November 2nd, the night Meredith's body was found.
Lei mi ha descritto una scena in cui erano in un corridoio.
She told me about one time when she and her English friends were in a hallway of the police station, and she told me that besides them there was the famous American student Amanda with Raffaele. She said that Amanda had her head on Raffaele's knee, and they seemed very in love, very self-absorbed, not at all moved by the terrible things that had just happened. Imagine these girls all desperate, crying, restless, while these two were totally calm, kissing each other, with that attitude that unfortunately everyone knows well.
A baciarsi, comunque sia in quell'atteggiamento che oramai conoscono tutti purtroppo.
Raffaele and Amanda seemed to behave in ways that didn't match the gravity of the situation. Rita Ficarra, chief inspector of the Perugia homicide squad, recalls a surreal scene. It's the evening of November 5th, and Raffaele Sollecito has been called in to the police station. Amanda comes with him. I found her in the waiting room doing a bridge, splits and cartwheels, Ficarra recalls. She was showing off her gymnastic skills. Ficarra tells her to get some rest, but Amanda, annoyed, refuses. So the inspector suggests she help out instead, maybe by putting together a list of possible suspects. Okay, Amanda replies. The murder of Meredith Kercher is a story full of controversy, contradictions, and overturned verdicts, all under an international spotlight. I followed the trials in Perugia of Rudy, Amanda, and Raffaele, and I often found that, in the absence of certainties, I risked being misled. The danger was that I would no longer be guided by facts, but by impressions. In the media portraits, Amanda came across as dangerous, bold, reckless. But then, when I saw her pass by in court, she just looked frightened, small. Who was the real Amanda? And what was just a mask? How much weight should I give to the impression I got from Raffaele? The impression of a cold, distant, apathetic boy? None. None of it mattered. I had to rely exclusively on the documents, the evidence. Over the past several months, I've gone back over those years, leafing through thousands of pages, newspapers, depositions, interrogations, closing arguments. I reread the verdicts, the documents. And at this point in the story, the documents reveal a turning point. On the evening of November 5th, the same night she was doing cartwheels and splits at the police station, Amanda Knox confesses.
Murder in Perugia is a podcast by Antonio Giovane. The English language edition is a co-production of One Podcast and World Crunch, with editorial supervision by Anna Silvia Zippel and Jeff Israeli. Production support Paolo Prosperini, Giacomo Aloisi, Emma Albright, Erwan Isanchou, and Laurie Gaucher. Post-production and automated voice matching of Antonio Giovane's English narration by Audio.